All right, guys, we're going to start this show soon. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you are watching. Good show lined up for you. Mondays are fun. I like Mondays on a show like this. A lot to cover from the weekend on a Monday. Give the show a like and a share. Give it a like and a share anywhere you are watching. A lot we're going to cover on today's program. Give the show a like and a share, and we will get started today. Looking forward to connecting with you guys on this platform and having a good time, guys. I'm ready to rock and roll when you are, Judah. Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us live in Charlottesville, across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. A lot to cover on today's program. I had this topic come up this weekend, and I want to try to address it. Most influential and impactful people in Charlottesville. People really making change in the community, change maybe for the better or for the worse, depending on who you are. We'll talk about that on today's show. In fact, we'll lead the program with the show, with this topic on the show. I also want to talk UVA Hotel and Conference Center pictures we put on the I Love CVille network. We'll talk historic rental vacancy rates in Charlottesville. I'll introduce you to a new listing that hit the market, relatively new. It's in on Elliott Avenue in Belmont. This is a teardown because of the zoning potential, however. It has an asking price north of, or right at $350,000. So that topic on today's show. New home sales slipping nationally. We're talking newly built construction. That topic on the program. And Williamsburg, Virginia, my hometown, is considering an outdoor beer garden. The Economic Development Office in Williamsburg has proposed this and suggested it to Williamsburg City Council, and it's very close to becoming a reality. Details from Williamsburg and the 757. Some football news. The media picked UVA 5th in the Coastal Division. That topic on today's show. We'll also chat with Keith Smith in about 24 minutes on the program. Thank you for joining us on a Monday. If you could, give it a like and a share anywhere you are watching, and we'll have a good time on today's talk show. So the first topic is something that came up this weekend that I want to relay to you. The topic was brought up at a party. Most impactful and influential people in the city of Charlottesville, Central Virginia, Albemarle County. I'm going to relay some ideas that came up and answer and feedback and get your take. So I'm curious of your take on this. So the obvious names came up. Corin Capshaw comes up. Corin Capshaw's name, this man's a real estate developer, a music mogul, a restaurateur, hires a hell of a lot of people. His name comes up on this topic all the time. Most influential and impactful people in the city of Charlottesville. Joffrey Woodruff's name also came up in that discussion. Joffrey, the hedge fund titan, the owner of Quantitative Investment Management. He donated $125 million to to UVA for a data science school. He pretty much put squash on the map in Charlottesville and Albemarle County with a roughly $12 million donation to build the MacArthur Squash Center, a state-of-the-art squash facility. So we'll talk these two guys, obviously. I think the short list undoubtedly has to include Mayor Nakia Walker. Her political clout, her influence, her position as mayor, her following on social media makes her quite impactful and influential in this area. So I'm curious of your take on some of those others on the list. Dave Matthews came up in the conversation. Dave Matthews, through his Bama Works Foundation and nonprofit, does a lot of philanthropy in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. My short list for most influential and impactful people in this area, it's got to be Corin and Joffrey Woodruff atop the list, right? I mean, am I missing something there? I mean, these guys, whether behind the scenes or front and center, are developing Charlottesville from a construction standpoint, from a commercial standpoint, Corin from a residential standpoint. They're hiring new people and creating new jobs. Corin's influence on the music scene is dramatic and incredibly impactful. Joffrey's influence on data science on the University of Virginia, on squash, and on the downtown mall is noticeable and felt, even though it's not front and center. My vantage point, the two most influential and impactful people in this area, Joffrey Woodruff, Corin Capshaw. I'd include Nakia Walker on there because of her political clout, because she's one of 5 people voting for city council, because of the following she has on social media. Nakia Walker, when she wants, can make global, if not, or can make national, if not global news. We saw that with the poem she wrote some months ago. When you have the mayor position and platform, you have the reach she has, and when you're elected, right out of the coattails of August 12, 2017, she was elected in early November 2017, you have history also on your side. So something that Corin and Joffrey may not have, this grassroots political clout, Nakia Walker most certainly does. Mayor Walker also is very vocal and visible with what she does with policy making, decision making, and the reasoning behind it. Joffrey Woodruff and Corin Capshaw, more behind the scenes guys. I'm curious of your take. Who should be on that short list, along with Nakia Walker, Corin Capshaw, and Joffrey Woodruff, as the most impactful people in Charlottesville and Albemarle County? That's a good question for you. I want to change the topic and put your ideas in the feed. The best ones will be in the running, guys, for an I Love Seville sticker, which we will mail to you, cover the cost to you, and send you the sticker whenever you're ready. Next topic I want to cover is the UVA Hotel and Conference Center pictures we put on the network. Jude, if you could do me a favor, Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director, if you could get these on screen, please. The Building and Grounds Committee, we know, we've talked about this on the show, has approved a hotel and conference center design. This hotel and conference center will soon anchor UVA's Ivy Road entrance, along with Joffrey Woodruff School of Data Science. The Board of Visitors and Grounds Committee approved the schematic designs, which Judah Wickhauer, our director, is putting on screen. We're talking 223 square feet hotel and conference center sited along the southwest corner of Emmett and Ivy. The hotel and conference center will facilitate UVA events. That's important to emphasize, UVA events and gatherings, but they say it's going to be open to the public. Our experience of 21 years of being in this community, when UVA says it's for UVA events and gatherings, but also open to the public, that generally is not the freedom the public or the autonomy the public wants to utilize whenever they choose. The hotel's about 215 rooms, about 26,000 square feet of conference center space. The hotel's 223,000 square feet total. Conference center, 26,000 square feet. It's got a 10,000 square foot ballroom, which is the largest meeting space in Charlottesville. This is going to change the game here. Imagine UVA having recruiting events for 3rd and 4th years and welcoming the financial firms from the Big Apple, having those recruiting events in the conference center and having the recruiters stay in the hotel. I mean, you can see the potential there. A lot I want to ask and questions I want to get to the bottom to of this hotel and conference center, of this data science school, of this new construction done by the university. The renderings look absolutely beautiful. If you want to get them back on screen for those who are just tuning in, Judah, that would be appreciated. I think the renderings are special and beautiful. I'm curious first to know how much the public will be able to use the conference room space and the ballroom space. That's the first thing we should want to know as citizens. I also would like to know, the rates per night for the hotels, how the data science school will be synergized with the conference center and the hotel next to it, adjacent to it. I'd like to know if we want to book something midweek, how we go about doing that. A lot of questions we want to get to the bottom to. Still, the potential is great for this facility, which I'm very excited about. We'll open it up to questions. I'll bang this around with Keith Smith, this topic around with Keith Smith as well, who's going to join us in about 15 minutes here on the I Love Seville show. The next topic, Judah, if we could get on screen, and I want to give credit to Matthew Gillikin. Matthew Gillikin's always posting great things on social media. I saw this on his page over the weekend, so credit where credit is deserved. He posted this. And this graph, for those that are watching, or excuse me, for those that are just listening, historical rental vacancy rate data for Charlottesville. J-Dubs, oh, that's on screen. Thank you, Judah. Look at the screen now, guys. So in 2019, historical rental vacancy rate in the United States was 5.97%. In Virginia, 5.53%. In Charlottesville, 3.08%. So 2% plus lower than the national average, Charlottesville, Virginia. U.S. national in 2019 was 5.97%. Charlottesville, Virginia rental vacancy rate, 3.08%. We're talking about a difference of 2 percentage points, almost 3 percentage points different there. Charlottesville versus the U.S. And if you look at the rates, the vacancy rates in Charlottesville, and you compare them to the national average, in 2017, the national average was 6.18%. In Charlottesville, 1.91%. So these are substantial vacancy rates that are extremely low in Charlottesville. It's an example that we're under-apartmentalized. We don't have enough apartments to accommodate the growing demand. When you're under-apartmentalized, the prices are going to increase. And the rental prices in this market are going through the roof. Through the roof every single year. So until we get more rental options on the market, the monthly rental rates will continue to increase. It's supply and demand 101. Charlottesville and UVA, they're hiring more people, the university, and they need somewhere to live. Outside employers are setting up shops in the city to poach the talent coming from the university, and these outside employers are bringing people to the city to open up these shops. Dexcom is a perfect example in Dairy Central. And these folks need somewhere to live. Neil Williamson likes to say, more housing for everyone, of the Free Enterprise Forum. We agree with that. We need more housing in this area. And so much of the discussion is focused on affordable housing for home ownership that affordable housing for rentals is overlooked, forgotten, or missed. So this is a topic we should consider. Charlottesville in 2020 kind of an anomaly because of COVID. In 2019, the historical rental vacancy rate in Charlottesville City, 3.08%. In the United States, 5.97%. We're talking a difference of over 3% here, folks. A lot to cover on the show in this topic, which we will percolate and we will continue to discuss over the course of this week on the I Love Seville network. I was surprised to see the rates as low as they were in the city of Charlottesville. Now, you have years like 2012 and 2010. Judah, if you want to get the information back on screen, if you could, please. Where 2012 and 2010, you're talking 10 percentage points plus. But now, the disparity between the national average of vacancy rates in the city of Charlottesville is basically 3 points. That's a large delta. That is a large delta. And you got to ask yourself, the city in particular, where are the additional apartments going to come and go to? For the city in particular. You don't have a lot more space to build vast apartment complexes. Granted, you could go up, you could do towers and go up, but that apartment tower that held Hardywood, Pilot Brewery, in Skipping Rock Brewery, you know, the tap room there on the corner of West Main, and is that West Main in 10th or West Main in 14th? Might be, I think it's 10th or 14th, one of those. That apartment that goes up in the air is often seen by many of us in this community as being somewhat of an eyesore. So do we want to go up and do we want to build towers to get the extra apartments? I mean, I was talking with Carl Brown on this network, and Mr. Carl Brown talked about how these towers, for folks that are living in the 10th and Page neighborhood, the West Haven neighborhood, yeah, that's at the corner of 10th and West Main, where the Uncommon building, it was once called the Lark, I believe. The folks in West Haven, the folks that live in 10th and Page, have said that those towers, that sky high above the neighborhood, often create morale issues because it seems as unapproachable or intimidating or casting a shadow over, say, public housing and folks that don't have a ton of economic resources. So I'm curious, we have to solve this under-apartmentalized issue, but do we do it by building up in the city? Or do we do it by creating more apartments in the urban ring and beyond? And if you do it in the urban ring and beyond, creating apartments for rent, what does that do from a traffic standpoint, from a cars hurting the environment standpoint, quality of life standpoint, ozone standpoint, dangerous to bikers and walkers standpoint? Curious of your take on that. Now, I want to highlight, this kind of follows suit when I'm talking. Judah, if you could get that Elliowood Avenue listing on screen, that would mean a lot to us. Guys, this listing has been on the market. It's 501 Elliott Avenue. The asking price is $350,000. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet, okay? Now, the good thing about Elliott Avenue, let's talk positives first. I'm a positive kind of guy. The good thing about Elliott Avenue is it's close to everything. I mean, you're a hop, skip, and a jump from downtown, a hop, skip, and a jump from Belmont. It's absolutely close to everything. The positive of 501 Elliott Avenue, it's zoned R2. Zoned R2. So it has some potential, city approval of course, for say a 2-family unit, a side-by-side, or an over-under. Now let's talk about the knocks of 501 Elliott Avenue. $350,000 asking price, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,033 square feet. It's sold as is. And if you slide through some of these photos, we'll put the link on the I Love Seville network, you'll notice the property is in disarray here. I mean, it's not looking good, this property. In fact, I would venture to say this is probably a teardown. You got a ton of water damage here. You got a house that was built in 1947, so we got a home that's what? 70, close to 70 years old here, approaching 70 years old. It's just in bad shape right now. So I would venture to say that this house is a teardown. So you're paying $350K for the dirt. The dirt is 0.17 acres. Now, this particular piece of dirt, if you had the means to pay $300-some thousand for the land, and then you had the money to build something brand new in today's environment where lumber is still, it's not as pricey it was during COVID, but it's still pricey, where you're having a hard time finding subcontractors to do work, where the supply chains are pinched in construction, and more on that in a matter of moments. You're going to need $300-some thousand. Let's just say you negotiate, you get this piece of property for $300. That's a $50K reduction on asking price. And Wendy Perry of Howard Hanna Roy Wheeler Realty, Greene County, has this listing. So say you negotiate, you're able to get $50,000 off the asking price to $300K. $300K for a piece of property that you're likely going to tear down, and then you're going to have to build new construction at a time when supply chains are pinched and throttled and difficult for new construction to get produced and coming to market. So it shows you how expensive it is if you want to be a speculative investor or home flipper. Gone are the days of fresh coat of paint, some new appliances, some new granite, refinishing the hardwoods and staining them. And here are the days of tearing property down, paying $300,000 roughly for dirt, and then dealing with throttled and pinched supply chains to build new construction side by side or over under. That's an expensive proposition. I mean, you're talking close to $1 million when everything is all said and done, plus the carrying costs of a year plus easily of debt service. A year plus easily of debt service. Permits, approvals, navigating red tape. As my friend Keith says, turning red tape into green tape. That takes time, money, and effort. That's called opportunity cost in business. And what opportunity cost means, what could you be doing else for your business or your life besides navigating a project like 501 Elliott Avenue? I'm going to follow this one closely. $300-and-some thousand for 0.17, a home built in 1947 that has R2 zoning potential. This is going to take a deep-pocketed individual to navigate the process, the time, the carrying cost, the debt service, and the throttled supply chains that are associated with speculative housing investment like a tear down and a new construction rebuild for rental purposes. Time will tell. Next topic on the show. This is something I watch. This is an indicator. This is an indicator that housing indicators, KPIs, key performance indicators that I watch and follow closely. Sales of new single-family homes fell to an annualized rate of 776,000, 6.6% below May's rate of 724,000, and a staggering 19.4% lower than June 2020. So June of this year versus June of last year. New construction home sales only. June of last year, 839,000 newly constructed homes were sold during COVID, June 2020. June of this year, 676,000 newly constructed homes in June of this year. That's a staggering drop in new construction. Here's another thing to consider. The price of homes, new construction, is going up, and it's going up quick. Not only that, you're seeing an increase in mortgage rates. So when the price of new construction is going up and mortgage rates are upticking a little bit, you're essentially pricing people out of the new construction market. You see what I'm saying? And that's exactly what's happening right now. We'll talk about this with Keith in about 4 minutes here on the I Love Seville show. Two other things I want to get out of the notebook before we get to Keith Smith, who's waiting in our green room. I want to talk about this outdoor beer garden, Judah Wickhauer. So this is from the Daily Press, the paper I grew up reading. The Economic Development Authority in Williamsburg has recommended to Williamsburg City Council that they adopt a local ordinance that would establish an outdoor beer garden. If approved by council, the city's request would then go to the Virginia Alcoholic Beverage Control Authority, the ABC of Virginia, for approval. Each of these outdoor refreshment areas can be up to 1/2 of a square mile and be located contiguous to another one. This is absolutely perfect for Duke of Gloucester Street in Williamsburg, Virginia. The reason I bring this up to you is I see other localities in the Commonwealth pursuing this idea. I know the city is flirting and considering doing this, so is Scottsville, so is Albemarle County. But the Duke of Gloucester Street in Williamsburg, if you're familiar with Williamsburg at all, an outdoor refreshment area in Merchant Square would be A++++ for tourists and locals alike in Williamsburg. We're going to follow this very closely on the I Love Seville show. 2 hours from Charlottesville, City Council is considering an outdoor beer garden in Williamsburg, Virginia. And then the last item before we get to Keith Smith here, Judah, if you want to make a motion to Keith to come on in, that would be great. Thank you very much. UVA football has been picked to finish 5th in the Coastal Division by the media. Virginia football picked to finish 5th by the Coastal Division by the media. North Carolina, number 1 in media predictions. Sam Howell is their quarterback. He's a pro that's still playing college. Miami, 2nd in the Coastal Division. Virginia Tech, 3rd. Pittsburgh, 4th. UVA, 5th. Georgia Tech and Duke round out the Coastal Division poll. So UVA, 5th in the Coastal. Remember, in 2019, they had a hell of a year. Last year, they finished 5-5, including a 4-5 mark in ACC play. 2019, they went 9-5 overall, 6-2 in the ACC. In 2019, they won the Coastal Division. Clemson, as you can guess, predicted to be your ACC champion. So 5th in the Coastal for Virginia. So much of UVA is going to ride on the shoulders of Armstrong, a quarterback who got some experience last year. Brennan Armstrong is a tough-nosed, hard-nosed guy that does not mind physicality. He throws a good ball. He's a good leader. He's liked by his teammates. He enters the season as the team's starting quarterback for the 2nd straight year. This team will go as Brennan Armstrong goes. 5th in the Coastal for UVA, 5-5 last year, 4-5 in ACC play. Got our good buddy Keith Smith in-house. Bob Yarborough says, and not only rentals, but affordable rentals we need. Come on over, Keith. Neil Williamson is watching. More housing everywhere for everyone. Neil Williamson, when talking the Williamsburg Beer Garden, my friend, I thought about you as well. Neil's son, a talented offensive lineman for William and Mary. I grew up going to William and Mary football games and watching Jimmy Laycock and the Tribe play. I have an affinity for the hot holly from Paul's Deli. Had my first beverage at the college deli in high school. Love Williamsburg. Happy to be in Charlottesville, but still love Williamsburg. Judah, let's go to the 2-shot and welcome the distinguished Keith Smith in the very nicely done Yes Realty Partners logo. How about a close-up on that shirt, Judah?
I wonder who made that logo.
I mean, tell us about that logo. Whoever put that together is a logo and branding genius right there. But I think those that are watching know that we did that here at B&B Brands. Regardless, I saw you on NBC 29.
Really?
Yeah, literally.
I didn't get a chance to see
It was great.
Really? How did I do?
I thought you were great. I mean, you got a lot of practice.
Well, I didn't. That's That's true, but I didn't have you to coach me along.
You don't need coaching when there's a microphone in front of you.
Yeah.
This is the coaching that's done when there's a microphone in front of you. Give me back that damn microphone, okay? You're burning it up.
We have invited the
Oh, that's great.
reporter in tomorrow.
That's awesome.
She said she'd come in, and she kept on doing this. Give me the microphone.
And it's not just a TV reporter. I mean, she's actively involved in...
No. So it's really great. So it turns out that she...
Judah, check out Keith's mic over there. Is that mic on, my friend? Okay, it's on now.
There you go.
Judah's got it turned on now.
Okay.
Thank you, Johnny Ornalis, for telling us that Keith's mic was on. All right, maybe you should start from the top there. Keith, tell us about that logo right there.
Jeez, I wonder who made this logo.
I mean, it's a great looking logo,
It
Keith.
was
said.
Liza the dog.
It was Liza the dog.
With a little pause, and look what she comes out with.
Keith Smith is the principal, one of the co-principals, right?
I do whatever Mrs. Smith tells me to do.
Of Yes Realty Partners. And on Sunday at Ix Park, they had a fabulous event.
We did. We did an event for the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. Blew it up. Thank you to you guys, and we had great turnout. And Johnny gave some great feedback on some solutions to help those. But it turns out the young lady or the young reporter, because she was young, that sent out from Channel 29 to talk to us a little bit, that she had to pull the microphone back. Said, "Okay, only need a minute."
You know, technically they're not. They're supposed to keep a hold of it.
Yeah, she didn't give it to me. I'm just trying.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I'm just trying to have fun.
That's
here.
like
She didn't give it to me.
one of the things we're taught because I used to work for NBC 29.
Yeah.
One of the things we were taught is don't let anyone grab the mic.
And she did a very good job because I went to grab it. And she said, no. But it turns out her, and she's going to talk about this tomorrow when she comes on the show, her and her mother and a bunch of young ladies in Richmond created their own little food bank. And it was just like really cool to have that conversation. But it was really great, had some great turnout, raised some money for folks. And as we said on Friday, it's just, the number just blows my mind. There's, oh my God, nearly 30,000 people a month they serve. And for every dollar that's raised, it helps 4 families. So it was a good cause. And our meeting after this, we're going to talk a little bit more about blowing that up a little bit.
That's great. How was the event?
It was great. What's not to like? It's at the Ix Park. It's next to Brazo. It doesn't mean I may have had a margarita. I may not have had during there, but it was just a great facility, great thing. Great to have our teammates there and our fellow agents and folks at our office, and it was just a lot of fun to get there. But it's just when people walk up and donate and tell their story, not necessarily some folks that walked up that donated used to get food from the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, and to step back up and give back, man, that's worth everything.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Look at sharp. I really do like the shirt, man. I sincerely mean
like it. I mean, the logo is good. I took your advice. I went with a different brand than the name brand, and
looks good. Fits you well.
Thank you.
A couple things I want to cover with you. In fact, a lot I want to cover with you. So, new construction home sales. June last year versus June this year. We're talking a 19.4% drop year over year.
Yeah. So some of that, it's interesting. I had a couple of lunches with some mutual friends of ours that are in the space. They're custom folks. They're kind of ramping back up. But it was lumber prices. It's really labor is a huge problem. Lumber's kind of bounced back out. Anybody who's been in this space or in the building industry knows material kind of goes this way. But they're just not producing enough electricians and plumbers and skilled labor. So that's a struggle that I think that the industry and us as a whole need to get through it. A lot of it is, and hats off to Neil Williamson.
He's watching. Love you, Neil.
There's just no inventory to go to. So these conversations I had with our mutual friends was they were literally asking me, okay, what did you do when this happened to you in the rock ages, in the stone ages when I was doing this? And my answer was you had to create your own inventory, meaning your own land, your own lots. So that's part of the problem is these subdivisions are starting to fill up. The pipeline to go to create new subdivisions, assuming you get past the political component of it, is a long time. It's 5, 6, 8 years. There's one we're working in Fluvanna County. We're on year 6, and we haven't even received our final site plan approval. Not Fluvanna County's fault, frankly. They have a great, they up-tempo their projects, but it was water, sewer, VDOT. We had to wait for a roundabout to get built, which took 4 years through the process. But that's the issue. You know, they're creating inventory to build homes on is taking forever and extremely difficult to do.
So, if new construction, what happens here? If new construction is slow to come to market, and a lot of people want to live here,
Sure.
and UVA is hiring more people,
Yes.
and we got firms setting up shop here to poach the talent from the university.
Yes.
I mean, good God, what's going to happen when the data science school and 18 months or 2024 is done, and you get really smart kids graduating from there in a field that everybody wants on their staff?
So when somebody says I'm a little bit worried about buying now because maybe it's the top of the market, I tell them that.
You're saying it's going to get worse.
The values are just going to consistently increase on that end of it. And there's just no way inventory, when I'm referring inventory, I'm talking about lot inventory or areas that builders, either vertical or horizontal, right, apartments or subdivisions, single family attached or detached, it just takes forever to get through that way. And it's going to take a very long time before any of that hits any type of equilibrium, in my opinion, for what it's worth.
Affordable rentals. I sent you the graph. Vanessa Parkhill's watching. She says, create those rentals in both areas. Go up in the city and in select areas in the urban ring. With thoughtful design, that's the way to go. Is that what we have to do? Do we have to build up? And those are towers. I mean, we heard Carl Brown say in the show that the tower that's towering over West Haven and 10th and Page, over there by Peloton Station where the Hardywood Brewery was, and then the tower across the street from it that's even closer, it impacts morale.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I was listening to you on the way over when you were talking about that. I'm going to pivot this a little bit. I'm probably going to get myself into a little trouble here. This is part of the struggle UVA is having with its affordable housing, 1,000 to 1,500 units. They need to tackle this transparency and trust, to be honest with you. Let's take a look at it. If you live in this neighborhood, let's just call it what it is. I grew up in that neighborhood. They built this tower. There's a bunch of, by the most part, folks that look a lot like us, paying. I know the flats. Is that the one you're talking about?
The flats, that's the one. Corin sold that.
Yeah, I know.
And he made a hell of a lot of money.
He did, but you know what the room rate's going there per door?
It's not cheap. How much?
It's anywhere between $750 and $1,000.
$750 and $1,000 per room.
Per room.
So not the apartment in totality.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So when I say door, per bed.
Per bed's better. Yeah, per bed.
Per bed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Per bed. Per door would refer to the actual unit. You're right. Per bed. So these numbers are staggering.
That's staggering.
And look.
So a 3-bedroom is like minimum $2,250 a month.
And if you grew up in that neighborhood, you go, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure this happened. I'm sure there was our outreach. I don't know the particulars of how it got there. I was involved on the periphery. I was involved, like that word, huh? On the periphery, I was involved. It's the shirt and the logo.
I like it.
I was involved in it from a very afar. But yeah, it's how do you build trust? How do you build transparency? How can what UVA is going to do? Because at the end of the day, that's what all that is.
Yeah.
Right? Those 3 large structures on Brown. Roosevelt Brown.
Yeah, Roosevelt Brown turns into 10th.
On the other side.
Yeah, on the other side.
In West Main, those 3 structures.
You know that area well.
It's one of my running and biking routes in there. It's all students. You and I aren't living there.
Right.
And it's all.
So you put this on the feed earlier as you were walking over. Second years on grounds at UVA and its impact.
Well, in reference to will it lower the rental? So Yona and I are buy an investment property again.
Awesome.
We're going to rent it. Thank you. We're going to rent it out. We're holding
In the city?
Urban Ring.
Okay.
And we intently are holding, we did the math, how much it's going to cost us, what we can do, and we're keeping the rent as low as we possibly can. Really, if you were to look at my ROI, you'd probably smack me upside the head and go, Smith, what are you doing?
Yeah, but you're passionate about this.
I'm passionate about this and try to and do some opportunity for folks. We have folks saying, I'll pay you more. I went, no. This is the rent that we're going to do. And so you're now starting to see something that I have never seen, at least from my perspective, I've never seen before. People are going, well, I'll pay you more rent. It's just a lack of inventory. More of everything, and Matthew Gilligan is hats off to him. More of everything helps everything. And Neil promotes this too, but, it's just, to go back to the question on second year, you've got my wheels turning on that. My original thing was I don't think it's going to help much at all, but I'm starting to change my thinking a little bit on that, and it may actually make an impact on it. Only time will tell if they're actually going to do it. I can tell you I'm a little concerned that it will be in our lifetimes before that decision is actually made.
A viewer, Judah, if you could go into my Facebook Messenger, Bill McChenzie, great picture. Bill McChenzie sent a picture to Facebook Messenger. He's watching Keith and I on the show. He is literally watching by the old, it looks like where the old Sacagawea statue, actually no. So this is on the 10th in West Main Corridor. In fact, is this a Google image pool? Bill, let me know if that's Google image. Judah, let us know when that photo's up. He said West Main Street has become an ugly canyon because of the towers that are going up on West Main Street.
So it's interesting. So the question to follow through on the second year, there was a lot of process went through it. The zoning said it happened. I don't really kind of get into a lot of the details of prior to it. But as you were speaking, I was thinking was, okay, so I think the intent was to centralize some students, right? Much similar to bringing second years on campus. I'm wondering if the numbers proved itself. They built these four. I mean,
they're towers.
There's like 1,000 units there.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Has that changed the market?
What do you think?
No, because we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
And has it adjusted the rent? No, because we wouldn't be having this conversation. So that was kind of my thinking on bringing students in. Is it on the second year? Is it just going to change the periphery? Second time I used that word. This is the word of the day. And
that's on screen, guys. Look at the screen now. This is from Bill McChenzie.
Bill, I don't have a magic answer, Bill. I wish I did. But if I kind of look back, if the intent was to relieve some of the pressure around, I don't think that happened. No. And plus, we pissed a bunch of people off.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And we can make the argument that... this isn't even an argument. This is true. They're admitting more students every year.
But aren't they having a cap of 26,000?
Still more though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think looking at UVA to become Ohio State of 50, 60, 70.
Oh, it's not going to be that.
No.
Could you imagine what would happen in this town?
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, even a couple hundred more. They have somewhere they need to sleep.
I do want to go back to your Elliott Avenue conversation.
I wasn't sure if I should.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to preface it. I can't talk details.
Okay.
But I'm going to talk about the process.
Okay.
Right. So it's R2.
Yeah.
Which is zoning.
Right.
So zoning says yes, you can put 2 residential units on it.
Okay.
Then you need to flip over to the subdivision ordinance. So you have 2 separate ordinances that guide this.
Will there be a subdivision in Elliott Avenue?
Because what you're going to do is you're going to end up putting 2 units on 1 lot. So for all intents and purposes, from a practical perspective, you're subdividing a lot. You're not, right? But as far as a visual goes, you're going to put a duplex on this lot, right? 1/2 is you, 1/2 is me. The problem is when you dig through, and I don't have it in front of me, when you dig through the subdivision ordinances, I'm pretty sure that lot's not big enough because you have to have a minimum square footage of lot to put 2 units on a duplex lot. So what a lot of the city has is they have this lot, so it's duplex. And me and you look at it, go, oh boy, it's duplex. We could put 2 units on it. We can buy this $350,000 house, tear it down. Let's use 300 for simple marine math. And it's $150,000 a side. Okay, if I went out to buy a raw lot in Charlottesville right now, it would cost me $150,000. Makes sense. Now you flip it over to the subdivision ordinance and go, oops, I can't fit it on there. Right, or I don't meet this criteria, or more importantly, to Matthew Gilligan's point, I now need to have 4 freaking parking spots on site.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
4 parking spots on site. So when we did Nassau Street, I had to petition the city, and we worked a little bit of maggage for the land trust, so we could put 1 on property. We did the same thing. We took these lots, these R2 lots, and went through the whole process. Took us about a year to get there and to go through this process. And then the city allowed us, because we found an exemption in the subdivision ordinance, that we could put 1 car on street and 1 car on the lot. But that lot, if you were to put 2 units on that, would have to have 4 cars sit on it. Just think about the math on that. 10 by 18.
Yeah.
Times 4.
What's the parking spot, is it ordinance is the right word? What's the parking spot guidelines? For
So
how
it's
many
an ordinance. So each around UVA, it depends. You'd have to specifically look at the zoning for that particular parcel, right? It's not a regional kind of thing. You look at it. So in R2, you have to do so much. In R1S, you have to do so much on that type of thing.
So let's talk general terms here.
Did I go in the weeds on that?
No. You
Okay.
you handled that well. And we're not specific to any listing, general terms. Who is the buyer of?
Yeah, so the buyer would be me and you, right? So or a local. That's the reason why I'm.
This isn't going to be a homeowner that lives there that's buying this.
Maybe not. Maybe this works, and we look at it and we say, okay, we'll pay $300,000 or whatever the math is on that, and we make a business decision to tear it down, build 2 units on there. It pencils out. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and do that. That is a microcosm of what this missing middle, this auxiliary dwelling unit increase, and that's, to me, going vertical. It's a whole different world. You need different contractors to do it, different developers. There's not a lot of folks out there in the space that can handle that other than the big guys. But if you adopt this missing middle situation where you can add 3 or 4 of these units, remove the parking requirements, change the square footage footprints and all that stuff, then the small to medium folks, you and I, can do this. We can do this. Yona would kill me, but we could do this, right? Where the bigger companies won't come in and do that because they're too scattered.
Yeah.
It just won't work in their business model. They may change their business model at some point. When you take a look at the big guys that do this, what they'll want to do is attach a job super per project. Well, if I got a job super paying them $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year for 1 duplex,
That's not going to work.
That's not gonna
The math doesn't make sense.
and if he's chasing himself all around to 16 different sites, his efficiency drops. I think that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Drops
So
down.
help me understand this. I know I learned so much from you. R1 is single family detached.
Correct.
Say a piece of dirt that's roughly 0.2 in the city of Charlottesville, that's R1. What's that piece of dirt run?
No structure on it, empty lot.
Yeah.
About $1.50.
So 150K.
Roughly.
We're talking back of the
Assuming
napkin.
you can even find it.
Okay. Yeah, you
Right.
probably can't find it.
Yeah. But I would say anywhere between 100 and 200, depending on location.
Okay, so same question, but this is zoned R2. So you could do a side-by-side, a duplex townhome. How does that change the price?
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make. So that, and I haven't penciled it, I haven't looked at it. There's literally me walking over here hearing this. So this is just pure spitballing at
Yeah.
this point. So what would happen is you'd pick up the phone and say, Keith, I'm thinking about buying this. This is what I'm thinking to do. I'm going to say, okay, great, time out. I'm going to open up the ordinances. I'm going to go through everything, reach out to my surveyor, land planner folks that we go, and we're going to say, okay, guys, by the subdivision ordinance, can I put 2 units on here? And the answer is going to be pretty sure no, because got the parking issue you got to deal with. The lot has to be a certain amount of size on it in order to put 2 units on it. So at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make is unless you change some of the rules, some of the red tape to do this, right? It's really, even though it's zoned R2, it's really just an R1S lot. That's all it is. It has no value. Again, I'm making some wild assumptions here, right? Because I haven't read any of this stuff and dug into it. But I'm pretty sure, how long has it been on the market?
I'll give it to you right now. I think it was July 20th.
Yeah, got it. So if it's been on the market for more than a couple of weeks,
Yeah, in this
then
month.
the math doesn't work.
Yeah, so
right?
I can tell you right now, July 20th.
Yeah, I'm talking about subdivide, I'm talking
So
about
6
putting
days.
excuse me?
6 days.
Okay, yeah, somebody's probably looking at that to see how that would work. And then there's a demo cost and a demo process and blah, 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 blah. But you potentially could put 2 units. You could do over, under, like you talked about, or side by side.
Which one's easier to build? Over, under, or side by side?
Going up is always cheaper,
Going up is cheaper?
always cheaper.
So is the over, under, how's that, what is that called from a housing standpoint? Is it just called an over, under?
That's literally what it's
Is it, it's not a town, it's different than a townhome, which is side by side.
Yeah, so there's a way that you can do this. You can do an over-under, and so basically what happens is since the upper unit doesn't have land attached to it, it's kind of like a condo kind of scenario on it. But you can do that. It's becoming a trend that you do these over-unders. In other words, you have 1 unit on the second, like basically it's 4 stories, right? You have one and 2, and then 3 and 4 sitting on top of it. Personally, I prefer to see a side-by-side. I think that would work a little bit better.
Why, more neighborhood character?
To me, I think it's less brain damage to build, and it becomes a little difficult to explain to a seller, well, hold it, you got to walk up 2 stories to get to your 3rd story, then you walk. So basically, the 4th story is a 4th-story walk-up.
Right, and that 4th story.
And I lived in 4-story walk-ups.
Yeah,
They suck.
Yeah, that's a lot. Those are tough. And is the 4th story walk-up in that scenario? Okay, so like in some place like New York City, you want to go up. You want to live in the higher ones. You get better views.
That's not true.
Well, if it has elevator, I mean.
No,
better
okay,
views.
okay. That's
Yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
I grew up in
This one doesn't have elevator.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in say like the city, if it has an elevator, it's a doorman
If
building.
it has an elevator higher up is the top dollar stuff.
Yeah, because you got less noise and better views.
If you don't,
If you don't, you're doing some exercise.
it's the opposite.
So in that scenario, if you don't, which Charlottesville would not, that 4th level, much less valuable than the 1st level.
That's exactly my point. That's why I think if I was penciling it out,
Side
I
by
figure
side.
I could do a side-by-side. And it's just from a livability perspective, right? If I could do a side-by-side, but I'm confident, without even looking at it, I'm going to get myself into trouble here. Mrs. Smith's probably going to say, you shouldn't have been talking about this, but
We're in general terms.
we're very general terms,
Yeah.
yeah. So if I have a rectangle and it meets the square foot minimums and the setback minimums, if I do it side by side, then I can structure it in such a way that Jerry has a left unit, has a little bit of a backyard. This is what we're doing with the land trust. Has a little bit of a backyard. Keith owns the right unit. I got a little bit of a backyard. I can plant my tomatoes, yada, yada, yada. Let the dog run around. Let the kids run around. That kind of thing. To me, that works better than an over-under. But over-unders work.
Bill has got the future land use map zoning for this particular property. Still talking in general terms. General residential uses up to 3 units per dwelling.
Sure.
Limited neighborhood serving ground floor active uses. Respond to existing. Go ahead.
So what they're saying is that we're now. So let's talk about this. Everybody has to understand there's 3 components to this.
Okay.
Component 1 is what we're going through right now, which is the comprehensive plan, which is what we're looking at. It's a land use map. We're saying this is what we want to have here. And let's assume exactly as Bill outlined gets adopted, just for the sake of an argument. It's still R2. Now they have to go back and redo the zoning ordinances, which that's what this consultant's going to do, right? So now you got this done, right? However long that took. Then they have to go through the rezoning part, which, oh, by the way, is a public process. The public's going to be involved in it. Everybody's going to have comments on it. So now we have to create the zoning to allow these 3 units to sit in it. Oh, and then there's a 3rd component, is the subdivision ordinance has to be changed to change the setbacks, to change the parking requirements, to change all this stuff. And these three components all come together to allow that to happen. Does that make any sense?
That makes perfect sense.
So, this process is going to be years from today. Years from today.
Keith Smith, guys, Yes Realty Partners. Vanessa Parkhill's got a great comment. For some people, those tall apartments act as an inspiration, a motivation to control their own destiny. Where we seem to fail too often is in showing people in the public housing, shadowed by buildings like the flats, the path that gives them the opportunity to get to the penthouse, wherever they want to be. Education and goal-oriented mindset are part of the foundation. Well done, Vanessa. Judah, can we direct message Vanessa Parkhill and send her an I Love Seville sticker?
Please.
She routinely contributes to this show, and Vanessa deserves an I Love Seville sticker on us that we mail to her.
Maybe one of these shirts.
Do you have one of them? Oh, I'm sure she would love the shirt.
We'll talk.
Vanessa Parkhill, you just won an I Love Seville sticker.
So, you're 100% right. We talk about this all the time. It requires base 3 items. The ones I just outlined, which is the land use planning development geek speak, right? You got to get these 3 components through it and so forth and so on. But there's that, education, and transportation. We talk about this all the time. And then I like to add a 4th one, which is the healthcare system. But, she's spot on. Spot on.
What's the plan for tomorrow?
Yeah, so Batman and Robin.
Nice.
We're going to chat with this wonderful young person, for about 15 minutes and get a little bit of learning on her life and what she's doing to help feed the less fortunate. And then I think we're going to continue this conversation, do what we do well. Looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward till tomorrow at 10:15. Keith Smith, Real Talk. Do we want to?
Sure.
We want to plug Monday? The Monday concept?
It's official. I'll let you. I'm not so sure we cleaned up the tagline yet.
Yeah.
But if you got that floating, it's up to you. You're the boss.
Well, so Monday, starting next Monday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Next Monday at 10:15 a.m., we're launching a new show.
Yep.
The new show is going to be a recap of.
So we haven't quite flushed out the name of it,
Okay.
but my visualization is the Monday morning market update or monitor. We've got to flush this out in our meeting, post it. But basically what we're doing right now is what we're going to do on Monday mornings. It's going to be a full show like we do on Tuesdays and Fridays. Take a look at the market, basically what happened between Thursday, Friday, and the end of Sunday. On that end of it, we're going to have Nikki Chambliss with us, sitting as a co-host.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Every Monday.
Every Monday.
Cool.
So we're adding another voice to it, and what we're going to be doing is inviting other real estate agents to come in and out of that chair right there.
Cool.
Talk about it from their perspective. What we came up with this idea, and thank you for helping me with it, is the market is moving
So fast.
And changing so rapidly. We just want to get information out there. And then, we've been doing this for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
What you just did is what I hope happens is folks chime in, the conversation gets changed a little bit of a direction. Somebody like Vanessa throws in a question, we respond to it. I think I'm excited about it.
I'm extremely excited. So new show on the I Love Seville Network launches Monday at 10:15 a.m. Nikki Chambliss, fabulous businesswoman. Keith Smith, myself, 10:15 a.m. We'll probably go to about 11:15 on the I Love Seville Network, and we'll have fun talking shop, talking numbers, talking biz, and what transpired over the weekend.
So basically what we're doing in this little spot, we're just moving it to a full show.
Yeah,
so we
giving
can
it
just
more
talk
time.
about the market, give it a little bit more time, get into some dialogue with the folks that chime in. That's what we were hearing across the board, so we'll see how it goes.
Ray Cadell says, my wife and daughter are in Manhattan at the moment apartment hunting.
God bless them.
Jamie Turner says, that new show sounds super exciting. Nicholas Erpy says, that new show sounds super exciting. Grayson, watching the program, I cannot wait for the Monday show.
Well,
I catch you and Keith all the time as much as I can.
We got the Erpies coming in on Friday.
Nicholas Erpy, Alex Erpy, Xavier Yerpy, Friday on Real Talk. So if you're just tuning in, the news is the Monday morning market
We got to work
meeting.
on that.
Monday morning
I don't know.
market
We're
meeting.
gonna. I think it's gonna
Because you want
require.
alliteration.
This is your world. You're the genius.
But what were you going to say?
I was going to say we probably ought to have a cocktail or two and flush this out.
Monday morning market. We'll figure it out.
Well, let's see what anybody.
What do you guys think we should call it? Jamie, Nicholas, Jeffrey, Leah, that are watching the program now. What should we call the Monday show?
So if you're a real estate agent and you look at Paragon, there's an upper right-hand corner. It's called a market monitor, and you can set it however you want. I set mine for 3-day increments. Every 3 days, it tells me what's going on it. So I was just thinking adding
The monitor is not bad.
Monday morning
market monitor.
But I'm sure my tongue is going to get tied up with
I mean,
that.
that's fantastic alliteration. I love it. Monday morning market monitor. What do you guys think it should be called? Put it in the feed and we'll get it on air. What were you going to say?
I think 4 M's is a bit much.
Monday morning market monitor.
Can
Can you say that? Say
no,
that 3 times fast.
I cannot say that.
Can you say it 3 times fast?
No, sir. We're done. Meeting time.
This guy's great people. Yes, Realty Partners. Trust the name of the game. Yes, Realty Partners.
And just so that we know, Judah knows we're doing an extra
Oh, he
show.
does.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
he likes it.
I didn't want to get hit
Yeah.
on the way out.
I mean, one of his favorite things is doing the shows. He's talking about.
Yeah, well, we could not do this without him.
Judah Wickhauer is our director in North Star. Right, Judah? I mean, he enjoys doing that. All right. Well, you got to give a plug of who's the underwriter.
Yeah, so the underwriter on this is Closure Title, in which we're super excited about, and they're going to be the premier sponsor. And you're trying to.
Oh, Nicholas Urpy says Monday market montage.
Montage.
Monday market montage.
Yeah, so we're going to tagline them that they were super enough to step up, and when I pitched it to them, they most people now when I go and see them go, oh, how much do you want? But
Grayson says, as long as it's you and Keith, I'll be watching Jerry.
oh wow, that's special.
Thank you, Grayson. That was
Well, we're going to have another rock star at the table, so a little bit of balance. So
I mean, I'm excited for Nikki
Nick-
here.
Nikki, this is a little bit of
Does she know what she's getting herself into?
we
with
literally
you and me?
well, she watches the show enough to know.
Oh, she watches a ton of them. Nikki, I love you on the program. You know I do.
But we had a meeting prior to me coming over.
And
here.
you were like, you realize
I was
it's
very-
2 years of doing this.
I was very transparent.
And how did you set the stage for her?
I said, "You're doing this. I'll see you at 10 o'clock."
I figured you voluntold her.
No, I did not. I did not do that. I just said, "Look, this is a great idea. What do you think?" And she was all over it. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah.
I can't wait.
We're buying seatbelts, but that's a different story.
Real Talk tomorrow, 10:15 a.m. Real Talk tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. Keith Smith, thank you. Judah Wickhauer, thank you. I am Jerry Miller. This is the I Love Seville show, where we talk the best of Charlottesville and Central Virginia in approachable fashion. Thank you guys for joining us. Enjoy your Monday afternoon. Take care.
Thank you, sir.